everyone, it's Carrie here. So, the internet has revolutionised how we all do business, and I know that if it wasn't for the internet, then I would never ever have been able to build my businesses the way I have. And somebody else who has leveraged and tapped into the power of the internet is Melanie Duncan, who is joining us today. She has built 3 incredible online businesses that now turn over more than $3 million a year. And the amazing thing is that she's built them in such a way that she doesn't actually have to be physically there running the businesses. They kind of run themselves, and so she can work from wherever she is in the world, which means she gets to go traveling and do incredible things. And I love seeing her pictures all over the place of all her trips. So Melanie is going to share with us today how she's actually built up her businesses and the reality of building online businesses, as well as sharing her top tips for starting and building and growing successful online businesses. So Melanie, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me, Carrie. I'm very excited to be here today.
So I'm really, really excited because we have done things together before. You've presented your Pinterest masterclass to the Female Entrepreneur Association in the past. So lots of people know about you and know about all your amazing Pinterest things. But I think the story behind you and all the incredible things you've done with all your other businesses is just so amazing. So I was thinking we could go right back to the beginning and just talk about how you got into business and how you got started on your entrepreneurial journey.
Absolutely, and it has been quite a journey, so that's a great word to use for it. I actually started my first business in college. I was a sophomore in college or in university, and it was with my husband, my boyfriend then, but my husband now, and we started an online business selling customizable apparel. But we even niched it down further than that. We started a sorority and fraternity clothing company. And for those of you outside the US, this is basically a type of group or organization that the majority of college students in the United States join. And so they join one of these groups and they wear their letters, so whatever group they joined, everywhere. If you go on a college campus in the United States, you'll probably see the person's letters on their pants or on their sweatshirt or on their tote bag. I mean, they wear them everywhere. And Devin and I were not Greek, so we were not in an actual Greek organization, but we heard a lot of our friends talking about how hard it was to get this custom clothing, because a lot of times you had to drive off campus to some store and they didn't have a lot of choices. So we thought that's a great opportunity to use the internet. And believe it or not, this was about 6 years ago, and so there weren't even very many Greek stores or Greek clothing, customizable clothing online at all, which just shows you how quickly everything has grown and changed online. But we started with a website, but we didn't know how to market it. So we knew we wanted to use a website to sell the clothing because we thought that's so great. That'll give us lots of freedom because we don't have to be in a store to sell it. We can get orders while we're sleeping. We were already sold on the online business model, but it took us about a year and a lot of struggle to learn how to market it properly, because we started marketing the old way. So what we did is we printed out brochures and we went door to door and we made phone calls and we traveled across the country to different conferences and set up a booth and laid all of our products out. And it was really expensive and we weren't growing at the rate we'd wanted. In fact, we were about $40,000 in debt. We had 2 other original partners, some friends that had started the business with us. They completely ducked out, said, we don't want anything to do with this. And Devin and I took the responsibility. We had one machine that we were making the Greek clothing in our garage. So it's so funny now, Carrie, because I'm so blessed to be able to, I live in New York City in a beautiful apartment and I travel the world, but the truth is it was not always like that. And in the beginning, it was Devin and I with our one embroidery machine. We were doing the customer service, we were doing the manufacturing. We would stay up until like 3 o'clock in the morning cutting all the fabric. So it was a very humble beginning, but what really made the switch for us was to start marketing online. And the way we dipped our toe into it is we actually heard of a friend recommended a guy to us that said, oh, have you had your site search engine optimized? And most of you are going to go, oh yeah, of course, that's something that a lot of people are aware of. But 6 years ago, nobody knew what SEO was. We'd never heard of it. And so kind of as a last ditch effort, really we were about ready to walk away from the business after a year of just putting everything we had emotionally, time-wise, money-wise into this business. And within about 3 months, we started receiving orders from all over the country because we started appearing in search engines for terms like sorority sweatshirt or, fraternity sweatpants, things like that we were selling on our website. And we took that as a sign of, okay, we need to totally restructure the way we're marketing our business and focus on doing it online. So we started to use Facebook and we started to do Google AdWords and all of these things that are probably commonplace to a lot of online entrepreneurs now. But for us, it was just a whole new world. And within about 6 months, we had done double the amount of revenue we'd done the past year. And within about 3 years, we became over a $2 million revenue business just in that one niche. Wow. And became the nation's one of the nation's largest Greek apparel providers, which is just a huge industry here in the U.S.
Wow, that is so incredible. It's just phenomenal, the power of the internet once you tap into it. So,
right.
So from your experience of growing the online businesses, obviously lots of people have lots of ideas and think about setting up online businesses and have these big ideas, but then when they come to starting their online business, they kind of seem to stumble a bit. So what are the biggest lessons that you learn along your journey from starting up online businesses?
So many, and that was just the first business, and which is the most fun story. But after Custom Greek Threads, which is our Greek apparel company, I then started a customized home decor company, Luxury Monograms. Then I started more of a personal brand and coaching and informational educational courses online. So there's been a few different businesses, but the main lessons have been the same every single time. And one of the things that I've learned that I always do now whenever I start a business is I start as small and as cheaply or as the least expensive way to test the idea as possible. And it's true, as entrepreneurs or just as people in general, we always have so many big ideas. And the most important thing you can do is take a big idea and figure out the smallest possible way to get it out there and test it. Because the truth is, even if you have your heart set on doing this one particular thing, selling this one product or being this certain type of coach and having this particular service, the truth is that is just your own idea, and it has to be in alignment with what the market wants and needs. So every one of my business ideas, I've kind of thrown it out there in the beginning and gotten feedback from the market, from my audience, from potential clients and customers, and been very flexible and shaped the idea until it was something that was the best idea, the idea that I was happy with, but also that was in alignment with what the marketplace wanted. Because there's so many people out there telling you just do what you love, just do what you're passionate about. And that is, of course, a critical part of it, but that's not the only thing. If you want to be successful, you have to make sure that there's a group of people out there that want to pay for that product or service. So I think it's important not to sink years or hundreds or thousands of dollars into this big business idea before you've actually tested it and gotten some feedback from other people, and not just family members. I mean, bless their hearts, but your family members will tell you, yes, that's a good idea, you should do it. But what the real voting is if someone will pay you for it. So if you have friends that say, oh my gosh, I love the jewelry you make, that's so fun, you should start a business, say, great, would you pay me $20 for this necklace? And then see how they respond to the idea, because as much as we love our friends and family, we've got to get that real direct feedback in order to shape and grow our business into something that's going to be a success.
Wow, yeah, that is such good advice, especially breaking it all down as well and just starting with small steps to get it off the ground.
Yes.
So obviously your online businesses are completely different. You've got the physical product side of things, but then you've also got the online side of things. So would you say the process for setting up and for starting each one of those has been the same in terms of getting it going online?
It has actually been different. And, I spent the first 4 years of my online career selling e-commerce or physical goods, so clothing or home decor, that type of thing. And then when I started my personal brand and more of my educational courses, I thought, this will be a snap. I've done this before. It won't be any different. And I struggled for the first year to really understand how to teach, because I was teaching, or I am teaching, strategies that I use in my own business. But it's very different to know how to do something than to know how to teach it to other people. And also, selling services online is a lot different than selling products. So when I sell a pillow, it's pretty obvious what the value is. People can determine whether or not they need it. But if you're selling a service, maybe it's something that people aren't even aware of that they want or they need. So I think setting up the businesses in terms of, the website and email marketing and social media, all of that is similar. But knowing how to market a product versus a service, and knowing how to build a relationship with a personal brand versus having more of like luxury monograms, custom Greek threads, I'm not the face of those brands. So it's very different the way the products are in the forefront versus needing to build relationships and credibility and positioning when you are the face of your brand, or your information is what is going to be sold.
Yeah, wow, definitely. So out of all your experience and all the things that you've learned, what top tips would you give to other people who are looking to start and to build successful online businesses?
Stay flexible. Stay flexible because, as I mentioned a little bit in the previous question, it really has so much to do with your original idea, taking that original idea and being open to shaping it. Every one of my business ideas, luxury monograms for our home decor company, I started out and I didn't know exactly what we were going to sell. So I did pillows, I did, like placemats and napkins, we had bedding and bath, and I was going to keep expanding it into more and more products. But what we saw was that people loved our pillows. We sell these little throw pillows that are monograms, and they would buy some of our other stuff, but the pillows, what were really the unique selling point in our marketplace. There were other places they could go, like Pottery Barn, to get napkins that were cheaper, but we had a very unique product, and because of that, we didn't expand into hundreds or thousands of SKUs or different products. What we did is took our best sellers and duplicated those, and small little tweaks to expand the product line that way. Now, if I had just been in my own head and said, well, I want to design monogram clothing, and we did. We tried like pajamas and some clothing, but the truth is it was really hard to produce. There wasn't as much of a need for it. We had to charge higher because it was more difficult to make all of the different types of clothing and sizes and colors. And what's important is we just got something out there, and then we used the feedback to grow into our business and to make the decisions about what we were going to offer, how much we were going to charge for it, all of these decisions that normally hold people back from even starting. You don't have to, what you put out there doesn't have to be the be-all, end-all. Just get something out there and then let your audience help you figure out exactly where you should be pricing things, or exactly what you should be doing more of or offering more of.
That is a really, really great point, and I think that one that a lot of people do miss because they just stay so tunnel visioned on what they want to do. So that's amazing advice. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think all of your advice is just so amazing, and it's also really nice and refreshing to hear about the fact that there were times when you struggled as well. And actually going back to your point at the beginning when you were talking about when you created your first business and how your two business partners ditched you and you were at this breaking point where you just didn't know how you could keep going. So many entrepreneurs feel like that. So just as a last kind of thing, what helped you to get through that and to help keep you driving forward?
Yes, and I'm so glad, Carrie, that you brought that up, because the other big piece of advice I would give to people is you just have to hold out a little bit longer than everyone else. And every single one of my businesses has actually taken longer to become successful, and unfortunately it was actually harder than I thought it was going to be. But I think the reason that I have been blessed with such great success is that I've always just pushed a little bit longer. I think so many people quit just right on that doormat of success where they're so close and they just give up. And, honestly, having Devin, my husband, as my partner has been something like we just support each other. We keep going. But I think also like we don't accept any other alternative. And because we've been doing this since college, like we don't really know any other way besides to have our own online businesses. And so even if it means sacrificing things, like in college, some people think we're crazy because we didn't do the normal, like party and like crazy stuff. Like we were working in a warehouse trying to build a business, like trying to build a dream. And I think that if you believe that is going to happen and you do everything possible in your control to not let doubt creep into your mind and to be open to being adaptable and flexible, you will eventually get there. But there are definitely times where I have been so close to quitting, and I just tell myself, okay, I'm just going to put in 3 more months. I'm just going to give it my all, and just hold out for as long as I can. And that has always made the difference. So if you're getting positive feedback and you just have to figure out how to change it or adapt it, so many of our ideas are just one, decision away or one little tweak away from being something really, really good.
I love it. It's so, so true. Melanie, thank you so, so much for sharing all your amazing wisdom and tips with us. If you want to find out more about Melanie, then you can check out her website, melanieduncan.com. I will put all the links and details over on the blog, Female Entrepreneur Association, so head over there. And I would also love to know what you think. Have you tried leveraging the power of the internet? And if so, what has worked for you and what hasn't? Head over to the blog and leave your comments, and I will see you next time. Thank you again so much, Melanie.
Thank you, Carrie.